How's it going, everyone? Today we have a story of probably one of the most spoiled kids ever breaking his brand new $10,000 gaming computer because he was big mad that he lost a video game. So yeah, sit back, relax, subscribe if you're new, and let's call the subscribers who submitted the story Zach and Ben. So yeah, this is kind of a duo story. I haven't done one of these in a while. So Zach and Ben went to school together, and there was this new kid, and his name was Liam. And in the very start of the year, Liam was kind of he's new to the class. Zach and Ben went over and, they were nice to him, but they never really befriended him like that. They never really became that close. And actually, unlike in a lot of my stories, when someone new comes, and they're befriended right away, and then they're found out to be kind of weird, Zach and Ben, didn't even befriend Liam till about halfway through the school year. They just happened to be assigned, the same project, or maybe, for some reason, they all happened to be in the same area or the same vicinity, and Zach and Ben really, got a liking to Liam, and they all got along really well. So all of a sudden, right after a couple weeks of hanging out, after, figuring out that, each other were cool, Liam invited Zach and Ben over to his house. He said, boys, you got to come over. I'm, getting my new, gaming computer this weekend. It's really crazy. It's, the top-end gaming computer. Basically, Liam came from, a household that had a little extra bread, a little extra cash, if you know what I mean. And, his parents would, occasionally let him spend it. And by occasionally, I mean always. And by spend it, I mean dropping big bucks. So Zach and Ben, kind of being aware of this, where, they liked Liam as a friend, but then they were also excited to play on, a $10,000 gaming computer. They'll be like, oh my God, think of the frames per second. Oh my God, this is going to be crazy, right? Or whatever. So that weekend, or Zach and Ben go back home. They both ask their parents, hey, Mom, do you mind if I go over to Liam's house? And they're like, yeah, sure. This weekend? Yeah, okay, that's fine. So anyways, the weekend comes around. Zach and Ben, or Ben takes a ride with Zach, and, Zach and Ben, they go over. Zach's mom drives them over, and Zach's mom's like, all right, well, have fun, you guys. And remember, you can always call my number if you need anything. And they're like, yes, of course, Mom, it's all good. So they arrive to Liam's house, and, Liam greets them at the door, and, they're like, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. And Liam's like, boys, I've just been setting up the game computer all day today. It is the craziest thing you will ever see or have ever seen or ever played on. It is the most epic, the most awesome, the most fantastic gaming computer ever. Every game is running so smoothly. It's crazy. So obviously Zach and Ben are really excited to go up and play on the new computer. So they all run upstairs and they go into Liam's room and they see it. And it is there's a massive monitor. There's a big gaming PC that has very fancy water cooling or whatever. It's got the RGB lights. It has cool mouse or whatever, big gaming desktop. It is if you play video games, it is basically the peak of anything you could want for a gaming setup. It definitely wasn't minimalistic if that's your style, but otherwise it was the peak of any gaming setup ever. So obviously Zach and Ben were really excited to take a swing at it. So, they run over and Liam's like, wait, 1 second. I'm just gonna I'm still playing on it. I'm mid-game. And he was not mid-game, but basically Liam sat down, is sit back, relax, and watch some gaming. And the thing was, right, Zach and Ben, while they were friends with Liam, they also did want to try out the video game themselves. It was fine to watch. Look, bro, a lot of people watch YouTube videos to watch other people play the video games. That's totally fair. When I was a little kid, I would go over to my friend's house and, I would actually enjoy kind of the experience of watching them play, because it was I was kind of playing along, and I also knew I would have been trashed, so I actually didn't mind it. But Zach and Ben kind of did. They kind of wanted to play along, but Liam was like, one more game, I'll get you guys on next game. And he would say that again and again. And hours were kind of going by, and all Zach and Ben were doing was watching Liam play Counter-Strike or something. And Liam was okay, but everyone else in his lobby was a little bit better, so they were basically watching their friend lose in 4K Ultra HD with 10,000 frames per second, bro. It doesn't matter if you have 10,000 frames per second, you're still gonna lose if you're not better than the other person. Specs are pretty good, but they're not gonna make it if you're not good. So Liam started to get progressively angrier and angrier. And Zach and Ben were like, bro, if you ever want to take a break, we'd be happy to swap. And he's like, no, I got to fix my KD ratio, which basically that's the ratio of like how many people you get versus the number of people who get you in like video games in a lot of cases. And since Liam was losing a lot more than he was winning, his KD ratio was getting worse and worse. And it's almost kind of like the gambling mentality, like, oh, I gotta like gamble my way back to the money I've lost through gambling. It's like, bro, stats are against you on this one. And Zach and Ben were just watching as Liam was like doing worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And every single, like, he would be like, this game is rigged. And it wasn't, just everyone else was better than him. And Zach and Ben were like, bro, do you want to, like, do something else? Because at this point, Zach and Ben look at the clock, and it's about, like, 3 hours since they've been here. And all they've done is they've watched Liam play and fail Counter-Strike for 3 hours. So either they want to get a turn on it and maybe play Counter-Strike or a different game, or, they're still friends with Liam. Maybe they just want to go and do something else with him. Maybe they just want to go and, I don't know, man. Like, maybe they just want to go and play outside or watch a movie or just do something else from watching him lose and get angry at Counter-Strike again and again. So Zach and Ben are like, oh, dude, like, when do you want to go outside or anything like that? He's like, bro, did you not hear me? I got to fix my KD in Counter-Strike. Like, I keep losing. I got to fix the ratio. Like, it's going to take a second, boys, so strap in. And they're like, Zach and Ben kind of look at each other like, bro, what's going on here? But the thing is, right, Liam keeps getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And this is where kind of like things start to get a little bit interesting. Because Liam, in his rage, is starting to like slam on his desk. He's like, "Bah!" every single time he loses. And every single time he loses, which is a lot, he starts to get angrier and angrier. And then he takes his mouse and slams it on his desk. And it doesn't break the mouse, right? But it's risky. It could have broken. The mouse could have broken, right? So Zach and Ben kind of look at each other like, this is not progressing in a good way. Because sure enough, right, Liam was getting angrier and angrier, and he was like pounding his fist. And then one time he even kicked his gaming computer, which they're like, whoa, chill, bro. Because imagine just a clean kick to the gaming computer, bro. You could have just destroyed the entire thing. Like, sure, that one thing wasn't $10,000. It was kind of the whole setup put together. But that's a good, like, $5,000-$6,000. He got the craziest specs ever. And so Liam was getting angrier and angrier. And Zach and Ben were like, okay, this is not great, right? He's starting to lose it a little bit. And he was like, bah, bah. And this is where not the whole climax, but this is where things start to get really crazy. Because Liam, it seems like a random game, but this was a really important game to Liam because he'd been losing for so long that in his head he said, Liam, you need to win this game. You need to do it. And, Zach and Ben were just thinking it was a normal game, and they were watching, and Liam was getting shot. He's like, no, I'm good at this. He starts going around. He starts panicking, starts, like, just has no aim at all, completely misses everyone. And when it says, like, I don't know, you lose or whatever, Liam just is silent. Because normally for the last hour, he's been like, like an angry grunt. So Zach and Ben at first think that, oh, well, this Liam kid finally is getting over his rage problem. But they were soon, within 3 seconds, completely proven wrong when Liam takes his fist and goes, bah! And just goes, boom, into the monitor screen. The entire screen is like cracked and destroyed and falls over the desk. And then Liam stands up, and Zach and Ben are looking at each other like, oh my God. And Liam is like, yeah! And takes his foot and just goes boom and kicks his gaming computer with such force that actually lifts up off the ground, flies for a little bit, hits the hardwood floor and shatters and explodes, and water starts leaking out of it for like the water cooling, and little bits and pieces go everywhere. And that's when Liam flips his desk, takes his mouse, swings it around on the mouse cord, is screaming the entire time, and throws it against the wall. The mouse explodes as well, and Liam starts huffing and puffing. He's like, and at this point, Zach and Ben are just like looking at each other like, oh my God, bro, oh my God. Anyways, if you've made it this far into the video, comment, spoiled down below. That'll be the secret word of the day. And then also, if you want to support the channel or keep supporting the channel, because honestly, just watching this far into the videos helps support the channel a lot, all you got to do is maybe after this video, maybe at a later point, sit down and watch a bunch of videos. Watch 1, 2, 3, or just binge watch the videos. And in the comment section down below, let me know how many videos you watched today and also what you're doing while you're watching the videos. Are you playing a video game? Are you, I don't know, drawing, animating? I saw some people like writing like a screenplay, trying to go to sleep, cleaning your room. Let me know. I'm curious. Anyways, let's get back to the story, because let me just say that Liam is starting to regret what he did. So anyways, Zach and Ben are just standing there, just looking around the room, just looking at the damage of the situation. So they're looking around, and so, yeah, Liam's monitor is like completely cracked and destroyed. His desk has been flipped over. The big gaming computer has spilled into a billion pieces, is all over on the floor, cracked liquid, completely destroyed, probably like $5 of value left, right? The mouse isn't even a mouse anymore. It is splattered into a million pieces, and there's like a crunch mark on the wall. It is like cracked where he slammed it. And Liam is still like, and Zach and Ben are like, oh my God, bro. Like, this kid just went crazy, because they knew how much this was. Liam was toting how it like overall cost $10,000 and how he just got it. And after having it for like 3 hours and just not being good at Counter-Strike, instead of being like, let me just shut down my computer and go outside because I'll probably enjoy the video game another day, I'm actually just going to break my entire setup out of rage. And slowly, Liam is like, oh no. Oh no. What did I do? Boys, what did I do? And they turns to Zach and Ben, and they're like, bro, I don't know how to put this, but I mean, you did just break your entire setup. And he's like, no, this can't be happening. I did just, and they're like, you did just do it, but he's like, boys, like, my parents know about this. This was like my big gift. Like, I'm not even like, this sucks, but they can't know about it. And they're like, Zach and Ben are like, well, and they look around the room, and there's this bits of computers all over the place. The thing's leaking, everything's destroyed. There's cracks on the walls. They're like, well, if they come in, they're going to see this. And he's like, okay, boy, I'm sorry. Like, I know you wanted to play on it, but that's probably not going to happen now. And Zach and Ben just look at each other like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, since the gaming computer is in 100,000 pieces on the floor right now. And Liam's like, we need to hide this. Like, I need your help. Like, I'll make it up to you guys. We'll do fun things like later. We just got to clean this up. Like, my parents cannot know. And, Zach and Ben are like, okay. Zach and Ben weren't going to be like, I don't know, asses and be like, haha, lol, suck it, dude. They're going to help, right? So they go downstairs, and, Zach sneaks downstairs, and Liam says, okay, the trash bags are in the closet next to the basement. So he goes downstairs, and Liam's mother's like, Zach, how's it going? And Zach's like, haha, it's going great. There's no gaming computer in 1,000 pieces upstairs. No, but he's like, yeah, it's going great. Thanks for asking. She's like, oh, what are you down here for? And he's like, because he can't say, oh, I need a trash bag to hide all the pieces of the $10,000 gaming setup that your son just destroyed after 3 hours of being garbage at a video game. He's like, a glass of water? And she's like, oh, let me go get you one. She runs off into the other room. Zach is next to the closet next to the basement. He opens it up. He sees the trash bags. And then he hears her coming back, so he quickly closes the closet door and intercepts her and is like, thank you so much for the glass of water. She's like, oh, you're welcome. She goes into another room. Zach opens up the closet door again, reaches in, pulls out a trash bag, quietly closes the closet door, runs back upstairs. And Liam's like, bro, why did you get a glass of water? He's like, long story. Hands the trash bag. They start putting parts of the gaming computer, whatever, in there. Liam's like, bro, why did you only get one? And Zach's like, he's like, we need more. Zach's like, dude, I don't know. I've never broken a $10,000 gaming setup before. And Liam's like, not funny, bro. Just get another trash bag. So he goes back downstairs. And Zach's mom's like, oh, you're back down again. He's like, oh, yeah, I just got to use the bathroom. And she's like, oh, did Liam not tell you about the bathroom right next to his room? And Zach's like, I guess not. And she's like, oh, well, it's over here. Let me show you. And so Zach goes to the bathroom, basically just stands in the bathroom for a minute, not doing anything, and then leaves and sees that, once again, Liam's mom is in the other room, so just goes by her quietly, goes into the closet, and just takes like 3 trash bags at this point, goes back upstairs, and thankfully, those 3 trash bags are enough to kind of enclose or get everything, all the parts and everything that go into the trash bags. They put it in his closet. They put the desk back up, because while the desk was like flipped over, it wasn't completely destroyed. It had some cracks on it. There was still chipped paint on the wall. There was nothing they could do about that at that time. So they're just like, oh shoot. So anyways, like Liam gets a piece of paper, draws something on it, is like, welcome to Liam's crib or whatever, something corny, but whatever. He takes that piece of paper, tapes it over the part on the wall with the massive crack on it, is like, okay, this shall do. So anyways, Liam, Zach, and Ben, they go downstairs, and Liam's like, do you want to watch a movie? And they're like, yeah, sure, that sounds fine. They watch a movie downstairs, and Liam or Zach and Ben are just texting each other the entire time, like, oh my God, what just happened? And Ben's like, bro, I'm trying to play in that $10,000 gaming setup. Like, what happened, bro? But anyways, they go upstairs when, Liam's mom's like, oh, like, it's time for dinner, boys. Like, are you guys ready? It's time for dinner. So they come upstairs, and, the table's all set for dinner, and they sit down, and, Liam's mom made a really good, like, steak roast. She made something. I don't think a steak roast is a thing. She made really good food. They're all sitting around enjoying it. And that's when Liam's mom is like, so, Liam, did you show the boys your new video gaming thing that we bought you for your birthday? And she turns and she's like, boys, it's a very special video game thing. I'm like, Liam and I sat around, I got him the greatest stuff for video games. And Liam is like, yeah, yeah. And Zach and Ben are like, okay, yeah, we've seen it. And she's like, boys, like, isn't it so great? Liam, your Aunt Gabby, she wanted to see a photo of you sitting in the gaming setup. Can we take a photo of it after dinner? Liam's face drops. Zach's face drops. Ben's face drops. They're all like, oh no, bro, it's over. We're done. This is GG unlucky. We're dead, bro. It's over. And sure enough, right, Liam's like, well, I was thinking of, like, doing stuff with Zach and Ben after dinner, so I might be busy. And, Liam's mom's like, it's only going to take a moment. And also, since we bought you that really expensive gaming setup, is it only fair that we get, like, 30 seconds of a photo with you playing on it? Like, come on, that should only take a little bit of time. And she turns to Zach and Ben, and she's like, Liam, Zach and Ben, I'm sure that you wouldn't mind if we took 30 seconds out of your time with Liam to take a little photo of him on his gaming setup. And Zach and Ben were just staring at her, because they didn't want to say, yeah, that's totally fine, which would be reasonable, but also reasonable under normal circumstances. And these were not normal circumstances, but, they also didn't want to be like, no, I cannot do that. No, that's unacceptable. You can't have 30 seconds with your son. You witch, you're the worst. I hate you. They can't pull an Anakin Skywalker right there. I hate you. Anyways, so they were like, and Liam and Zach and Ben were just looking at each other. And they pull out their phones under the table, and they're texting each other, and Liam makes, like, a group chat that they made before for, like, what's the address? What's the time to come over for the sleepover? He's like, boys, what do we do? And they're like, dude, I don't know. I really don't know. So they were, like, just barely playing with their food. And the mom's like, Liam, why are you guys not eating it? Because it was actually really good. And Liam's like, I'm eating it. I'm just savoring it. And they're like, yeah, me too. So they keep eating. And they're really just messing with their food to buy them more time to figure out what to do before their mom comes in and is like, oh my God. Like, all that kind of stuff. And so sure enough, Liam sends a text saying, hey, I don't think my mom totally remembers what a gaming setup looks like. So maybe we can make a fake one, but I need you guys to go up and come up with something before I will be here with my mom. And Zach and Ben are like, well, I feel like your mom will just, like, if we go up, your mom will be like, oh, why don't we just go up now? And Zach's like, hey, I'll stay here. I'll talk to your mom. How about you and Ben go up and come up with something? And Liam's like, okay, that's fine. So Liam and Ben are like, all right, thank you so much. And Zach's like, oh, Liam's mom. She's like, yes, I have some questions for you. So basically, right, I'm not going to tell the part of the story where, or actually I will. So this is a part where it splits. I'm going to tell Zach's perspective and then Ben's perspective, because Ben went upstairs to help Liam make the fake setup, and Zach stayed downstairs to try and bid as much time with Liam's mom as freaking possible. So anyways, Ben and Liam, they run upstairs, and Liam's like, dude, I don't even know what this means, but we got to come up with something. And, Zach's like, well, okay, well, what do we have around the room? So Liam is like, oh, wait, I still have, like, parts of my old gaming setup. Like, we got to, like, mix it up with something new because my mom might remember it if it just looks like the old thing. So anyways, Liam gets out his old, like, laptop, he puts it out, and then he decides, okay, we got to make it look like it's something new. So they take out a bunch of markers and pens and, like, all this, like, arts and crafts stuff, and they start, like, decorating it. Like, they start drawing all over it. But they try to make it look as, like, official as possible. And they also, like, Liam's like, oh, I think I have, like, some RGB lights or something. So they put that on the computer, right? It looks really scuffed, but, like, when moms aren't going to really know what the new video game tech is going to be, he's like, oh, I need a mouse. He's like, I still have my old one. Takes out his old mouse. It's, like, a white mouse, so they're able to draw all over it and make markings and be like, ooh, this is really the most epic mouse ever. And he's like, well, my mom also remembers buying, like, a gaming, like, a PC. And she says she's not going to, if she doesn't see a big box, that's going to be a problem. So Liam looks around, and, Liam's like, oh my God, I almost forgot. Liam had, like, a big black box that he bought something from Amazon or some kind of shipping service, and it came in a black box, and, like, he just saved the box for some reason. He put the box under his desk, and he's like, I need to find some kind of, like, wire type thing, and he goes over to the smashed mouse. He pulls the wire out of the smashed mouse. He puts the wire into this empty black cardboard box, and then he, like, attaches the wire to his computer by just literally putting his Mac, who's, like, old, like, I don't know, probably was like a Chromebook or something, on top of, like, the wire, so it looked like it was connected. To anyone who has no idea what they're looking at, this was, like, a little bit, it was kind of convincing if you had no idea what you're looking at. And that's when they heard Liam's mom come up the stairs. So anyways, flash back like 5 minutes. So Liam and Ben, they go up the stairs, and Zach is sitting there at the dinner table trying to figure out a way to stall Liam's mom for as long as humanly possible. So he's like, so tell me about your time on the parent council for education. Basically, there was, like, a parent, like, little organization that would, like, send suggestions to the school or whatever. And she's like, oh my God, Zach, you don't want to hear about that. How about we just go upstairs? And he's like, no, I do. No, you got me all wrong. I do want to hear about that. I want to hear all about the legislation that you do. Yeah, tell me about the legislation. I'm really invested in the legislation of parent-teacher, oh my God. And she's like, okay, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So after about, like, a minute, she's like, okay, well, that's the gist. Do you want to go up now? And he just knows for a fact. Because, like, Ben basically said, yo, we need time. And he's like, so, well, actually, I heard that you were an English major. And she's like, I was an English major. How did you know? And he's like, well, I'm not doing well in my English class. Can you give me some advice? And she's like, Zach, I would be happy to sit down with you in, like, an hour or so and just go over everything I know about English. And he's like, well, can you give me a quick rundown now? And she's like, you know what? Sure, I can. So 3 to 4 minutes later, she's done. And she's like, all right, well, I can't wait anymore. I got to see this gaming setup with my little boy in it. So she starts walking up the stairs. And Zach is like, oh, okay. So Zach is, like, walking up the stairs with her and is, like, trying to, like, speak as loud as possible to try and give a little bit of an advance to both Ben and Liam so that they could, like, hear it coming. So anyway, Zach, like, opens the door. And he's like, Zach is terrified because what he sees in front of him is the most ridiculous thing he's ever seen. An old Chromebook with crappy marker all over it. A old mouse with marker on top of it. A cardboard frickin' box with a weird wire coming out of it. And, Liam's mom is just speechless for a second. And they're all like, oh no, she doesn't buy it. And she's like, it's beautiful. And they're all like, oh my God. She's like, Liam, go sit in that chair right now. I'm going to take a photo for your Aunt Gabby. She's going to love it. Liam's mom takes out her iPad. She's like, say cheese for Facebook. Liam's like, She takes a photo, sends it to Aunt Gabby. She's like, oh, this is so great, Liam. Liam, what's that leaking? And that's when, like, Liam, Zach, and Ben, they all turn to where Liam's mom is pointing. Out from the closet is a leaking puddle. And Liam, Zach, and Ben realize that the gaming computer that was smashed into a billion pieces and put into the trash bag, something in there must have ripped the trash bag, and like the coolant from the gaming system must be leaking out. And Liam's like, I don't know, Mom, I'll go clean that up. I want to like play with my friends right now. And she's like, no, let me do it. You guys have fun in your gaming adventures. Walks over, opens up the closet. She's like, Liam, what are these trash bags? And Liam's just like, I don't know, Mom, I'll bring them downstairs. She's like, no, I got it. She opens one up. She opens up another one. She goes in there, starts messing around, starts looking at stuff. She's like, Liam, what is this? And that's when she pulls out a piece of like the plastic shell around the gaming computer that had the logo. And since she bought the stuff, she recognized the logo. She's like, Liam? He's like, yes, Mom. She's like, can I have a word with you? Can your little friends leave the room for a second? And Zach and Ben are just like, oh no, bro, we're done. And so they got up and they walk downstairs and they just hear, Liam, you know how much money I spent on this? This is ridiculous. What did you do? Did you throw it out of a 10-story building? And Liam's like, Mom, I'm sorry. Is like the craziest freak out ever. And Zach and Ben are just like, they're just standing downstairs like, well, we tried, dude. Like, I don't know. Just don't break your $10,000 setup next time, maybe. And so eventually, after 20 minutes, they stop. The yelling stops. They get a text from Liam saying, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, it's like 7, so it's kind of late. But can you ask your parents to come pick you up? Like, my mom wants to have a long conversation with me, and I don't think it's going to be fun for you guys to be here. And Zach and Ben are like, sure. Zach sends a text to his mom, and Zach's mom's like, what did you boys do? And Zach's like, it's not us, actually. We were cool. But can you come pick us up? And Zach's mom's like, okay, of course. Like, give me 20 minutes. So after 20 minutes comes by, Zach sends a text to Liam saying, hey, sorry about tonight. Like, we're peacing now. We'll see you in school tomorrow. Hope that you survive. If you're banned from gaming forever, you can always come over to our houses. We'll let you play. Like, it's all good. So they get in the car, and Zach's mom's like, boys, what happened? Today I have 2 stories for you, the 2 most spoiled kids I have ever heard of. I know you'll enjoy the story, so sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel, watch this video on Spotify if you want to, link in the description, and let's just jump right into it. So anyways, we're going to call the subscriber who submitted the first story Chris. So anyways, Chris was in class, and during this class, like, there was a project you had to do where it's a very common project that you get in school. It's the what do you want to do when you grow up project. So Chris, at this point in his life, was in 3rd grade, so he was pretty young at this point. And he was basically given the week to make a little summary of what he wanted to do. And then at the end of the week on Friday, present it to everyone in the class. There was also a kid in Chris's class who we're just going to call the spoiled kid. And he was kind of known as the spoiled kid because he always just acted very entitled. He always had nice fancy stuff on or always had new clothes or whatever. And most notably is he always became like his dad drove this like sports car to come pick him up, which, bro, why are you driving the Lambo to pick your kid up from 3rd grade? But anyways, right, he was kind of known as a spoiled kid, and that's kind of irrelevant for right now because Chris really wanted to be a firefighter at that point in his life. So he went back home. He asked his mom if he could go and get like a firefighter costume from a Halloween store. They went, they found one, they got it. Chris like looked up or asked his mom to help him learn some information about being a firefighter, and he put together a nice little presentation. So now on the day, it is now Friday, it's the day that everyone is presenting, and anyways, right, so, you know, everyone is sitting there. A lot of people are either in costumes or maybe they're, you know, they have a poster board. Chris happens to be in costume and has a poster board. But you know who doesn't have either, really? The spoiled kid. The spoiled kid literally has neither. He's just sitting there. And people are kind of looking over like, what's going on, bro? Like, why does this kid not have anything? That's kind of crazy. And they're like, I don't know. Or Chris is like, maybe he has something memorized in his head. Maybe I just can't see what he has to like present or whatever. But sure enough, it's time for Chris to go up there. Chris goes up, nails his presentation, says, I want to be a firefighter, says, what's your firefighter facts? And sure enough, more people go up. You know, there's doctor, lawyer, astronaut, chemist, mad scientist, SpongeBob SquarePants. There's a lot of professions that people go up and say that they want to do, and that's when it's time for the spoiled kid. So the teacher's going down the list and reading out names. It's like, all right, spoiled kid, it is your time to go up. And the spoiled kid is like, he looks up, he's like, whatever, and he walks up to the front of the class, and he said, when I am older, I want to be rich. And everyone's kind of sitting there like, okay. And the teacher was kind of looking at him like, and the spoiled kid's like, that's it, that's my presentation. And the teacher's like, wait a second, spoiled kid. Are you telling me that the only thing that you did was say that, like, I want to be rich and you're done with it? Like, that's all you did? And the spoiled kid's like, well, yeah. And the teacher's like, okay. Because, you know, at this point, they didn't really have grades. They got, like, a check plus or a check minus or something. But it really didn't affect them at this point. They were only in third grade. So the teacher wasn't like, I'm going to fail you. But the teacher's like, well, maybe you can add a little bit more on the spot. And the spoiled kid's like, well, I want to be wealthy too. Which, like, bro, rich and wealthy is basically the same thing in a sense. And the teacher's like, no. What are you going to do to become rich? The spoiled kid's like, I'm just going to become rich. And at this point, the teacher's like, what do you mean? And the spoiled kid is like, well, some people when they're born, they're just like born like better than other people. And they just become rich. And the teacher's like, spoiled kid, like, people aren't born better than other people. Everyone is born the same at birth. Like, that's ridiculous. And the spoiled kid's like, well, then why do I have all this cool stuff in my house? And when I go to other people's houses, they don't have that cool stuff. Remember, bro was in third grade, but still, like, what? I mean, the thing is, bro, this is definitely the parents coming in and telling some kind of, like, brainwashing right here. And the teacher's like, spoiled kid, like, that is super disrespectful. Like, everyone has different opportunities and disadvantages in their lives. Just because, like, your parents were able to, like, you know, I'm sure that they worked very hard, but there's also a bit of luck involved in that. Like, you gotta be great. Like, you gotta be grateful for all that. You can't just say that you got that because you deserve it. Like, you were just happened to be born from them. And the spoiled kid's like, well, I don't understand. Like, I thought the way the world worked was like, if you were rich, that just meant you were better, and poor people are poor because they're worse. And the teacher is just staring at the spoiled kid with his mouth like wide open, and everyone else in class is like kind of turning around and like talking to each other like, dude, what did this kid just say? Did he just say I was worse because my parents make less? He said I'm inherently worth less? Like, what? And the spoiled kid said, yeah, like, what? And he said also, what does like job have to do with money? And he's like, isn't it just like the poor people have jobs and then, you know, the better people, aka rich people, just they're just able to sit there? And the teacher's like, no, like, you make money from your jobs. The spoiled kid's like, oh, okay, well then I want to be really rich when I grow up. And the teacher's like, spoiled kid, you don't understand. Like, you were put in a fortunate position where your parents have done well. Like, that's awesome. That's great. Whatever, right? But that's not a job. Just having money is not a job. That's not how this works. And everyone could kind of tell that the teacher was starting to get a little bit upset because, look, being a teacher is a thankless profession, right? You have a lot of snotty kids in your class that don't care what you're doing. You also don't get paid at all. Most of the time, teachers are doing it because they believe that their work is important, you know, teaching the next generation of kids. And that is really the only way they get paid, in gratitude. Or not gratitude, but just like knowing they're doing something important. So this teacher was a little mad that this kid, the spoiled kid, was basically like, well, I plan to do nothing and be really lame when I grow up. Like, I'm just going to sit there and, you know, fiend off all the money I'm going to get my inheritance. Basically what this kid was saying. So anyways, right, the spoiled kid is like, I don't understand. And, you know, the teacher's like, okay, Pick a profession, spoiled kid. Pick a profession. And the spoiled kid is starting to get angry himself. He's like, I just want to be rich. I don't care what you're saying. And the teacher is like, that's not a profession. Choose a job. What do you want to do? And this is when the spoiled kid says, Daddy says I don't need a job because he's so rich he'll pay for everything I ever want. And that's when everyone in the class is like, hey, yo, bro, what? Huh? And sure enough, right, the teacher's like, starting to get a little upset as well. And the teacher's like, you know what? Let's pretend you had to contribute to society in some way. Let's pretend. So, I mean, look, it's a grown adult fighting with a little kid. So, I don't know if anyone's really the person in the right here. I don't think the kid's saying that, like, everyone is inherently worse than him because his parents have money is in the right. But I also don't think an adult fighting with a kid's in the right either. But anyways, right, so it's a heated match. And Chris is just sitting there very awkwardly, very uncomfortable. And that's when the spoiled kid starts to, he basically loses it. He starts saying, just because you poor, broke individuals with no money, are mad at me and are jealous for what I earned. I earned, bro. Congrats on being the right sperm that went to the right cell. Congrats. I don't know. What are you saying? But anyways, he's like, you guys are all so jealous. I can smell the jealousy from here. Oh, man, it reeks of jealousy because you guys are all jealous and haters. I hate how hatery you guys are. You're all jealous and you suck and because you're poor and broke and lame. And the kid literally runs out of the classroom. And he just, at this point, right, the teacher's like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? And the teacher's like, okay, class, please ignore what just happened. Let's continue on. And basically what happens, the spoiled kid ran out, went to his backpack. They have to keep their backpacks outside. They go out and they grab their books or whatever. And he grabs his, portable phone. He dials up the number for his dad. And within 30 minutes, his dad arrives at the school. And so anyways, Chris is in class, they're finishing up their presentations when the spoiled kid and the spoiled kid's dad barge through the door. And the spoiled kid's dad is looks at the teacher and says, my son says that you were shaming him for us being successful. Is this true? And the teacher said, today was supposed to be career day. Your son went up there and just said, I want to be rich. So I kind of just pressed him and asked him, okay, well, what career path do you want to do to obtain such status and wealth, right? And he said that, he's going to be rich because he deserves it. We're poor because we don't deserve it. And that, you're going to basically pay for everything that he ever wants and that he doesn't need a job. And his dad says, and? You got mad at my son for saying that? That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly true. And the teacher's like, wait, so you believe that, the reason why some people are poor and some people are rich is that they're just born as worse off, they're not as good of a person. And his dad and the spoiled kid's dad is like, yeah, that's exactly what I think. And he looks down at his son and he says, you know what, son? Good for you. You're taking on like your old dad. You know what? Let's go home. I'm going to take you out for ice cream. The spoiled kid's like, yay, ice cream. And the kid and the father walk off. This is kind of a sad story because, look, at the end of the day, a lot of times views and opinions of kids are really just formed from their environment. And a lot of times parents are kind of the main factor in determining what that environment will be. So this is kind of an unfortunate story, but it is what it is. And yeah, so Chris, remember, this happened a long time ago for Chris, and this kid kind of a little bit grew out of it. He was always kind of been spoiled and entitled, even as he got older, but he wasn't as bad as this. For the next spoiled kid story, we're going to call the subscriber Clarence. So anyways, Clarence was at a restaurant, and it was a bit of a fancier restaurant. It wasn't like drive-through McDonald's or something. It was a bit of a fancier sit-down restaurant, and Clarence and his parents sat down next to another table that probably just got there a couple minutes before them. It was a mom, a dad, and a son. This son was probably he was on the younger side. He might have been the 4th or 5th grade or something. But this son, we're just going to call the spoiled kid because, oh my God, he was the spoiled kid, right? So first of all, Clarence was watching, and, Clarence's parents said, hey, no phones, no iPads, no devices or anything at the table. When you're sitting at the table, please pay attention to, the other people there, it's important to, maintain conversations. And I think that's a good thing, personally. I try and uphold that as much as I possibly can. But anyways, right, Clarence was looking over, And there was a kid, the spoiled kid, had his big old iPad, and he was just on it, and he had the iPad on the table. And Clarence saw the spoiled kid's mom be like, "So, spoiled kid, how was school today?" And spoiled kid's like, "Shut up, Mom, I'm watching Minions." And he's just on his iPad. And, the spoiled kid's dad is like, "Son, it's not polite to talk to your mother like that." He's like, "Shut up, Dad, I'm on my iPad watching Minions." And at this point, like, Clarence is like, wow, this kid's like a real jerk. Like, bro, look, your parents, first of all, they're the ones who raise you. They put a house over your head. They gave you that iPad. You've done none of this before. Yes, they brought you into this world, so, you're entitled to a little bit. But come on now, have a little bit of respect when everything you have in life is because of them. Don't be like, "Bro, I'm watching Minions, I'm too busy." Like, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. That's ridiculous. And sure enough, right, Clarence watches as this kid is like, "Shut up, Mom, I'm watching Minions, I'm going to be on my iPad." And so sure enough, right, the spoiled kid's parents kind of give up, which, look, if I'm going to be a parent, I'm not giving up. I'm not tolerating disrespect like that. But anyways, right, so sure enough, this kid is on his iPad, and he says he doesn't have the volume down low. He literally has the volume cranked up to the maximum. Yes, this was a restaurant with a lot of people. There was noise. There was ambiance. But within that ambiance, you could hear Minion Rush gameplay. It was the loudest thing in the room. And the thing is, right, maybe the person sitting at the end, like at very far away, couldn't hear like the Minion Rush in the background from this iPad. But since Clarence and his family were sitting right next to them, like, their conversation was being drowned out by Minion sounds, like, from the movie. He's like, oh, my God. And the thing is, right, this spoiled kid, you might be thinking, wow, this kid's disrespecting his parents, and he's on his iPad being super loud. This must be the worst he gets. No, trust me. He gets so much worse. Real quick, comment spoiled if you made it this far into the video. I really would appreciate it just to see who made it this far. Also, if you want to support the channel, literally just continue watching these videos. I keep on seeing comments from people saying, "I've watched 5 videos today. I've watched 20 videos this week." I just want to let you know that when I see those comments, I try and heart them as much as I can. And even if I don't, just know I really appreciate it, because watching a bunch of videos is what is helping the channel get promoted as much as it is. So I really, really, really do appreciate it. And also, yes, we are on Spotify. It is linked in the description. But also, if you look up Connor Pugs, it'll be the only Connor Pugs podcast, I do believe. And you can watch these videos on the go or whatever, right? And also, don't forget to use code ConnorPugs on GamerSupps for 10% off. It helps me. It helps you. You'll love to see it. And finally, if you want to submit your own stories, these are subscriber-submitted stories, go to my Instagram account, ConnorPugs. It's also in the description. Follow me, and then DM me your stories. And don't say, "Oh, I have a story. Do you want to hear it?" Just DM me the stories. A lot of times, even if I use the stories, I won't even respond, just in case I change my mind a little bit later. So always be checking in with the videos to see if your story was used. And also, if I do use your story, there's a good chance I alter most of the details just to make sure that it doesn't get back to the person and you get in trouble. And also just keeping it good like that. Anyways, let's get back to it. So sure enough, Clarence is listening over. And the other table with the spoiled kid, they get their food, right? Like, food was given out, like, handed over. And, on this, like, dish or whatever, there was, like, a main course. And then there was, like, vegetables. And the thing is, right, I get it. If you don't like your vegetables, you don't like your vegetables. There's not a lot that I can do about it personally. I think you should eat your vegetables. I think that it's important to eat your greens. However, if you don't, whatever, man. I'm not in charge of you. However, what you should not be doing is taking your broccoli and throwing it across the room to random people. That's not what you should be doing, to say the least, right? So anyways, Clarence is sitting there, and he's not even looking at the spoiled kid's table when he feels something hit his face. And he looks down at the table, and there's a piece of broccoli on the frickin' table, bro. There's a piece of broccoli on the table. And sure enough, right, he looks over, and the spoiled kid is picking up the broccoli on his plate and chucking it across the room. Boom, boom, just like throwing it across the place, hitting other people. They're looking over, and the spoiled kid's mom is like, "Spoiled kid, don't throw your food. Don't, like, this is not a food fight. Like, have some respect. And the spoiled kid's like, shut up, Mom. I'm going to do whatever I want. And at this point, right, you know, Clarence is looking over. He's like, wow, like, this is kind of disrespectful. This is kind of, like, not a great thing. And sure enough, the spoiled kid continues to just take fistfuls of broccoli and peas and just throwing them all around the place. And the thing is, no one at the restaurant who works there noticed this, because I'm pretty sure they come over and ask him to stop. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they think it's such a great thing. They say, oh, sir, thank you so much for chucking your mushed up vegetables in your hand all over the place. Thank you so much. You're so valuable to our customer service. You add to our atmosphere with all the vegetables flying around. Like, no, dude. Like, no one actually wants that. But this is not as bad as the spoiled kid gets. Because the next thing he does is finally, right, he gets bored. He eats, like, a little bit off his plate. And then he leaves the table. And the spoiled kid's dad is like, spoiled kid, get back here, sit down. We're going to have a nice conversation. He's like, no, shut up, Dad. He just kind of just starts walking around. And that's when Clarence watches as the spoiled kid approaches his table. And Clarence is like, oh my God, like, what's going on here? And Clarence had like a big thing of fries because he got steak, and he got steak with fries on the side. And he sees the spoiled kid come over to the table. And Clarence and his parents are like, hello there. Spoiled kid is like, hello. And he literally takes his big greasy palms and grabs a handful of fries and runs away. And Clarence is like, hey, like, what, bro, like, come back. And the thing is, right, he took like 3/4 of the fries. He took most of Clarence's fries. And at this restaurant, the fries were like the greatest fries around. Clarence has been thinking about these fries for weeks. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. The fries are good. So Clarence is upset, and he starts looking over, and he sees the spoiled kid is going table to table, literally taking people's stuff. He's going from table to the next table, to the next table, to the next table, literally just nabbing stuff from people. And people are like, hey, like, what's going on here? And that's when someone gets up and talks to a manager of the restaurant, pointing at the spoiled kid. And Clarence watches as the manager is, like, looking over, the person complaining is pointing at the spoiled kid, and shows the spoiled kid going from table to table, like, grabbing stuff. And that's when the manager walks over to the spoiled kid's parents and says, hey, guys, you got to control your kid. And they're like, hey, like, we've been trying to. He's been so bad. And the manager's like, I mean no disrespect or anything, but if you can't control him, I'm gonna have to ask all of you to leave. And the thing is, the spoiled kid heard this, and the spoiled kid is like, you can't tell me to do anything. And the manager is like, I'm the manager of this restaurant. If you continue to take stuff from people and you don't sit down and eat the dinner like everyone else with your parents, I'm going to have to ask you all to leave. I think it's a pretty fair request. And the spoiled kid gets super angry. He's like, you can't tell me what to do. So the spoiled kid runs away, right? And his parents are like, I'm so sorry. I'll go get him. However, they're not expecting what's about to happen next. And what's about to happen next is that the spoiled kid, the spoiled kid starts running around, and like he takes like one of the salt and pepper shakers and chucks it through the window. And the window apparently was like one of those like glass panel things. It wasn't like a big thick window. It goes right through the glass panel, shatters. And the glass shattering noise is enough to get everyone's attention in the restaurant. So they all turn their heads and they're looking over and they're just like what's going on here? And everyone turns and they look at the spoiled kid. And the spoiled kid is literally just standing there. Like, he is just standing there watching everyone watch him. And he's next to a big thing of broken glass. And the manager angrily turns to his parents and is like, if you don't control your kid and get him out of here, I'm going to call the police to do that for them. And the parents are like, he's just a kid. Why would you call the police? Shattered glass noise number 2. And they look over and they see the spoiled kid has taken a stool and thrown it through a normal glass window, which is insane, right? And they're like, okay, point proven. So the two parents run over to the spoiled kid and are like, sweetie, we need to go home. And the spoiled kid's like, no, Mom and Dad, I do what I want because I can do anything. This is my world. And he literally just continues. He takes another chair and his dad is like, spoiled kid, if we go back home, we can get ice cream. And spoiled kid's like, of course we're getting ice cream when we go home. When you take me home, I'm going to get ice cream no matter what. But I want to keep doing what I'm doing right now. So at this point, right, Clarence looks over and sees the manager literally going over and, like, calling the police at this point. He sees the manager being like, nah, bro, this is not happening. Not in my restaurant. And so sure enough, right, he calls the police. And at this point, the spoiled kid and his parents are like, okay, come on, spoiled kid. And the spoiled kid's like, not today. And he takes another, chair, throws it through another window. At this point, right, a lot of people are getting up to leave because this is ridiculous. And sure enough, right, the police do arrive. And the spoiled kid doesn't see the police. And he picks up another chair when he feels a bit of resistance. Like there's someone else tugging on the chair. So the spoiled kid thinks it's his dad. He's like, don't try and stop me, Dad. And he turns around and he's looking directly at an officer who is holding onto the chair. And he's like, oh my God. He drops the chair and he runs away, but he runs over to the exit, which is the door. And who do you think is standing in the door? Another officer. And he starts crying. He's like, it wasn't me. It was my parents and that kid. And he points over to Clarence, the subscriber. And Clarence is like, bro, what? You took fries from me and now you're blaming me for causing damages at a restaurant. Anyways, police officers are told by the manager, no, it was this kid. And so anyways, police officers, the manager, the parents, and this kid are all standing around. And they're basically just talking about damages, like how it's going to be settled, how all of that. Basically, the restaurant is, one, banning them from ever coming back, and two, sending them a bill for, the damages done to the window. And the cops basically say, hey, the manager said that, he's not going to press any charges or have any police action against your son, so he won't be going to juvie or anything like that, or be on watch or something, but, you need to be a better parent. And they're like, I know. And with that, they left. And, basically, most people at this point had left. Clarence and his parents had finished eating. They were paying the check. And Clarence just looked over. And man, bro just saw a massive, he just saw a massive pile of glass, bro. He just saw a massive pile of glass. And the moral of the story is if you're a parent, sometimes you got to be forceful. Not physically, but sometimes you got to put your foot down and not let your kid run you, because they'll turn into something like that. Anyways, if you want to support the channel, go ahead and watch another video after
Click on the
this
video
one.
on
Thank
screen
you.
right
Peace.
now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it.